In the meanwhile, there is a scrambling by those on the right because as it becomes more real for people, people start to realize how insane this vision of America is. And I think you're going to see the abortion numbers actually harden for those people who want choice. I think you're going to see it harden and get maybe a little bit larger in terms of supporting a woman's right to choose. It may not make a difference at this point. We may have gone past the point of no return because of what's happened with the Supreme Court, but we shall see. In the meantime, here is Matt Walsh. He apparently has a show. This is not the funny Matt Walsh. This is the really unfunny Matt Walsh.
Very unfunny.
Right.
Not good.
There's a funny Matt Walsh who was on Vice, and I think he's on another show now. A UCB
Veep.
guy. Veep, not Vice. Right, Veep. And the unfunny Matt Walsh hosts the show on the center of conservative intellectualism online. That is the Daily Wire. This is the brainchild of Ben Shapiro, I believe. And here is Matt Walsh, who, what's his official title over there? Primetime host of religiosity or something? What is it?
Yeah, it is something like that. He calls himself like a writer and host and stuff like that.
Okay, here he is.
One of the religious right's most influential young voices.
Yes, okay, here it is. Here he is, okay, now trying to, in some way, I mean, look, I understand if he just comes out and says, God's law says there are no abortions, and that's why I want there to be no abortions, because I believe God's law shall reign in this country. I mean, there are theocrats. They exist. I disagree with them. I think it's fundamentally un-American, but at least they can come out with it. But this is stunning. His attempt to come up with another more practical argument about why there shouldn't be an exemption for rape.
Now, as for the cases of rape, which are rare and in a very small minority, but as for them, there are two things to keep in mind.
Pause it.
Number one.
What? But the cases of rape? Or what is he saying? The cases of rape that lead to pregnancy are rare? Is that what he's saying? I'm not sure I understand even like what the point is. He just wants to minimize rape just generally. All right, continue.
Now, as for the cases of rape, which are rare and in a very small minority, but as for them, there are two things to keep in mind. Number one, abortion helps rapists cover up their crimes. Rapists love abortion. Rapists love Planned Parenthood is a rapist's best friend, because when a rapist rapes someone and creates a baby, most of the time.
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. He pauses there. Do you think that he just sort of stumbled onto that talking point and was like, "Oh, damn it"? I'm afraid that came out of my mouth because it sounds like he's just not sure where to go.
No. I think that we still sometimes, at least I do, have the we just got to unlearn it of like wanting to give people like this even like 1% credit. So there is like hey, did he just realize that what he's saying is absolutely demented?
Yeah, no, he planned it this way.
Yeah, no, I bet. Planned or not, I'm sure he does not get that it was demented.
Okay, all right. Wait, so you go back just a little bit. Go ahead.
When a rapist rapes someone and creates a baby, most of the time that's not what they had in mind. They weren't trying to create a baby. And if this is what here the people that are coming up with these hard case hypotheticals, well, what if a 13-year-old girl is raped and now she's forced to carry her baby? Well, if a 13-year-old girl is pregnant, that's a very good indication that probably a crime occurred. And once you have the baby, you can do a DNA test and find out who the father is. And if that father is an adult, then that person is going to jail. So now we can prove that a rape occurred. That's why rapists would rather just send the victim off to Planned Parenthood have the pregnancy taken care of and the evidence thrown into a medical waste dumpster.
Is this guy completely out of his mind? Is he not aware that an aborted fetus would have DNA as well? I mean, just assuming like his entire scenario in his mind would be like, how are we going to find out? He also apparently doesn't, I mean, I guess theoretically, this rapist or this victim of the victim of incest, right? They would take DNA from everyone around her. Is that what his plan is? But if they were to do that, he's not aware that the fetus has DNA. That the reason why we would force, in his words, in his scenario, a 13-year-old girl to carry a rapist's baby to term is because there's no other way to prove that this 13-year-old was raped, that this 13-year-old would rather have this child so as to have ironclad proof, which could be presented even by I mean, I don't understand. Like, how does he have no editor? Do they not have like sit around and talk to other people and say, hey, wait a second, I have a crazy idea. I want to bounce this off you.
Well, remember
He
when
talks to the cool kids philosopher Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, remember when the Daily Wire did that Columbus Day animation that was really racist, and
Right.
Ben Shapiro's like, I was actually out of office that day.
Yeah. I mean, this
I was
guy's-
on my 4th birthright trip.
He's not speaking to convince anyone. He's speaking to whip up his already quite frenzied base, right?
But I don't understand. Like, don't they realize that other people are going to see this? Do they think that all of the people that follow them are just complete morons?
I mean yeah. They don't
They
care.
must. They must. I mean, I would like to. We will be taking calls later in the program. If you're someone who for a while thought like, hey, that is a good idea. We should make rape victims carry a fetus to term and force their pregnancy, force their birth, so that we can have evidence to convict the rapist. And that's the only way we'd be able to do that. If you're one of those people who for a moment or even still believe it, make sure you call in later in the program.